Hello and welcome to United Report. This is your home for all the latest Manchester United news, match updates, transfer stories, and in-depth analysis. Stay connected and never miss a moment. Subscribe now to stay ahead with everything happening at Old Trafford. Former Manchester United defender Phil Jones reckons the club has a supremely talented crop of young players capable of returning the team to the top, including a striker who could step up to solve Ruben Amorim's goal-scoring woes. Jones, who has worked in a coaching role at United's academy in Carrington since retiring prematurely, is tipping some of the unfamiliar names that appeared on the bench for the first team's latest defeat to Tottenham last weekend to become household names. And chief among them is young Danish centre-forward Chido Obi Martin, who emerged off the bench for his debut in North London. Obi Martin, 17, joined United from Arsenal in October because he felt there was a clearer path to first-team action on top of a better financial deal on offer. Speaking to Sam Allardyce on the No Tippy Tappy Football podcast, Jones said, "Working in and around the academy and helping those young players develop, United have some really good and talented young players coming through. The squad had a lot of injuries against Tottenham, and the bench was full of kids, but there were some talented players on that bench. People might not know a lot about them now, but they certainly will in the next few years. I think you look at Kobbie Mainoo, top player. You look at Chido, who we've just signed from Arsenal, who's an animal. You look at Ahmad, who had a couple of really good loans. And I remember watching him winning it against Liverpool in extra time last season. And I had said at that time he'd play a huge part in the next season. I played with Ahmad for a year or two, and you could see then that the quality he had was really good and really strong. As I said, there's a great crop of young players ready to be given the chance, and integrated into the team, United sit an astonishing 15th in the Premier League table, with both Rasmus Højlund and Joshua Zirkzee struggling up front for a team that has collectively scored just 28 times in 25 games. Amorim takes his side to Goodison Park for the final time this weekend to face former United boss David Moyes. Ollie Watkins has backed Marcus Rashford to start firing for Aston Villa once he has a few more games under his belt. Rashford has joined Villa on loan until the end of the season from Manchester United in a bid to resurrect his career. After being frozen out by Ruben Amorim, he has found a new home at Villa, where he has made 3 appearances so far. The 27-year-old forward made his first start for Unai Emery's side in the 2-2 draw against Liverpool on Wednesday night as a reward for his telling contribution in the 1-1 draw with Ipswich on the weekend. He showed glimpses of his talent and nearly opened his Villa account when Alisson flew off his line, only for Ibrahima Konate to head clear Rashford's effort. It was goals from Yuri Tielemans and Watkins which earned a new-look Villa side a creditable point against the Premier League leaders. Rashford featured alongside fellow January signings Marco Asensio, Daniel Malen, Andres Garcia and Axel Disasi, and Watkins is confident they will help Villa pick up a win soon after 5 league games without one. "It is nice playing with quality players, and I am sure in the future games I will get more opportunities," he told TNT Sports. "They haven't had that long to show what they can do, and they are still finding their feet. When they get a few games under their belt, I'm sure it will flow and connect together nicely." Emery is a huge fan of Rashford and was the driving force behind his capture in January. The Villa manager paid tribute to Liverpool star Mohamed Salah before the match and hinted that Rashford is capable of having a similar impact for his team. Discussing Rashford alongside on-loan Paris Saint-Germain midfielder Asensio, Emery said, "They are in an individual process of getting fit. Tactically, we're changing with them, and we have to practice with them in training sessions as well as practicing while they are playing in matches. We did that in 2 matches with Asensio and Marcus and with Axel Disasi in the last match. We are working every day and we are having some meetings trying to show them it. Now they are getting better and understanding more, and they are closer to playing in the starting 11. Rashford returned 7 goals and 3 assists in all competitions for United before making the move to Villa Park. He jumped ship after making it clear that he was ready for a new challenge, an admission that saw him removed from the United first-team squad by Amorim for nearly 2 months. Manchester United have been told former star Paul Pogba could aid Ruben Amorim's bid to salvage the Red Devils' season. Former United forward Louis Saha has revealed he would take Pogba back at Old Trafford in a heartbeat as the Frenchman prepares to make his return to football. The 31-year-old was allowed to begin training in January following his doping ban and can return to playing in March. Pogba received an 18-month ban after testing positive for non-endogenous testosterone in September 2023, and in November 2024, the midfielder parted ways with Juventus via mutual consent. That, according to Saha, leaves United with an opportunity they can take advantage of as they deal with a number of injuries. The former Fulham, Everton and Newcastle striker reckons a move could be mutually beneficial and that Pogba, in search of rejuvenating his career, could offer quality, confidence, leadership and a guarantee for United head coach Amorim as his side languishes in the Premier League. Yes, I would take Paul Pogba back at Manchester United in a heartbeat, Pogba told best betting sites. It's not only because of the squad that we have now with injuries and all that, but for all the elements that he brings as a player. We need guarantees. We need quality, we need confidence, we need leadership, and this guy now has an opportunity to show how much he wants it. Pogba can show he has the ability to be one of the best in the league in this position, especially with the motivation and the focus that he has to understand where he can improve and what parts of his game he needs to adapt. Pogba has to focus on himself and think, all those things that I've done in the past, I should not do anymore. It's an opportunity to sign someone who is highly motivated. He's going to obviously still have huge confidence about his ability. I'm sure that when he looks at this midfield at United, he has a different type of vibe in his game. So definitely it's an easy fit. I think that he will communicate with the manager. He would be humble after the situation. He's been injured. He's been banned. I'm sure Pogba wants the visibility. He wants to go back to a French team as soon as possible, so he just needs to pick the right project. For him to get back into the national team, he needs to show that he can still do it at the top level. United would be signing a player that is completely dedicated and focused on achieving his goals, because he's been out of the game for so long. I'm sure that the most important thing for Pogba would be to show Amorim and the Manchester United fans that he is still one of the best players in the world. He will want to show people how good he was and how good it can still be. I think it's a nice opportunity for the club and the player. Manchester United are set to release their financial figures for the final 3 months of 2024 today, and the latest accounts are likely to include the settlement for sacking Erik ten Hag and his staff, and appointing Ruben Amorim as his replacement. The figures could also include any payoff for sporting director Dan Ashworth after he left the club in December, although the figures will be grouped together rather than broken down individually. The accounts cover October, November and December, so include Ten Hag's dismissal and Amorim's appointment, with United paying a fee to Sporting to appoint Amorim, as well as the backroom staff he has brought with him. The figures will be analysed at a time when Ineos are considering more redundancies at the club, with 250 staff laid off last year. A meeting with staff is set to take place next Monday, when plans could be outlined in more detail. It is expected that at least 100 employees will leave in the latest cull. The payoffs for Ten Hag and Ashworth will be seen as expensive mistakes for Ineos. The Dutchman only narrowly escaped dismissal in the summer, but after surviving an end-of-season review where his job was at risk, his contract was extended and he was handed a £200 million war chest in the summer window. That new deal meant it was more expensive to sack Ten Hag this season. Ashworth was also dismissed just 5 months into his tenure at the club, and after a long process to appoint him from Newcastle United. Those payoffs will add to the estimated £60 million that has been spent on sacking managers and their backroom staff since Sir Alex Ferguson retired in May 2013. In June 2022, United's end-of-year accounts revealed exceptional costs of £24.7 million, which went on compensation to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Ralf Rangnick and some of their backroom teams. United paid around £5 million to David Moyes and his backroom team when he was dismissed, and £8.4 million to Louis van Gaal after he was sacked following his FA Cup triumph in 2016. When Jose Mourinho was sacked in December 2018, the payoff was £19.6 million. Ruben Amorim has been told to forget about Rasmus Højlund as the solution to Manchester United's goal-scoring woes. There were high hopes when the Danish striker was signed by Erik ten Hag in a deal worth £72 million in August 2023. However, the 22-year-old has failed to deliver a return on that investment since his arrival from Atalanta. Despite scoring 16 goals in all competitions during his first campaign at Old Trafford, Højlund has found the net just twice in the Premier League so far this season. While some pundits have blamed a lack of service for the forward's poor form, one former United player has suggested head coach Amorim should cut his losses where Højlund is concerned. Ex-United goalkeeper Ben Foster made his views clear while discussing the number 9's latest lacklustre display after starting in United's 1-0 defeat at Tottenham on Sunday. "I've literally got down in my notes here that I don't think Højlund will ever score you more than 15 a season. I don't care who he plays for," he said on the latest episode of his Fozcast podcast. Foster's views have changed compared to this time last year, when he praised Højlund's clinical finish after scoring in a 2-2 draw with Spurs in January. He suggested then that his lethal finishing would leave goalkeepers quaking in their boots. Foster said, "When he gets the ball out of his feet and on his left foot and unleashes one, any goalkeeper in the world is thinking, 'Please don't shoot.' It was ridiculous." While the ex-Wrexham stopper's views may have shifted, he's hardly alone in criticising Højlund's form. United legend Paul Scholes singled out Højlund's performance in a scathing assessment of the team's overall showing after beating Southampton 3-1 last month. He told TNT Sports, "The control when it came into Rasmus Højlund was so poor at times, he kept giving it back to them. It's solely because of Ahmad that United have won this game, the rest of the players. Take a long hard look at yourselves." Meanwhile, Foster has also raised major concerns over United's current injury crisis after questioning if some players are more content to stay on the sidelines than face scrutiny for their performances. Amorim was forced to name 8 academy players on the bench against Spurs due to the growing list of absentees. Foster said, "I don't like all the injuries that these teams have. I don't think you can put these injuries down to just bad luck. I think there is a case to be made that players are happier to be injured. They want to be injured because then they're out of the firing line. I don't think they're doing all they can do to get back as quickly as they possibly can."